long story short, we come across this hotel in Jacksonville that's coming up for auction. And I was, the firm that I was working with at the time, they didn't want to do it. They was like, Jacksonville is just too far, man. Here's another gem. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, meaning sometimes you got to move out of your comfort zone to make things happen. If I wasn't willing to come to Jacksonville, there would be no Hoodestates. I would have never had the hotel. I would never have, you know, at one time I had almost 100 doors. You know, we sold a lot of them over the past years with our partners. I wouldn't have the trucks. I wouldn't have none of this. It was me willing to leave Jacksonville to make this happen. So when the auction came up, that particular company I was working with, they didn't want it. They was like, nah, we're not going to Jacksonville. That same guy who I had dealt with before, it's crazy. I still had a few clients because even though it was online, he didn't want it. The guy just didn't want to do nothing with the computer. So even though the auction and stuff went online, he still wanted me to provide for him the files, the information. So he was one of like 2 or 3 clients I had. So I went to take the file to him like I always do. And as I'm leaving out the door, he says, hey, you got any other deals, anything bigger than, you know, this? I was like, well, there's an auction coming up in Jacksonville for a hotel that's 170 units. Like, really? He's like, what you think it's going to go for? I say, man, they got to go for at least $1 million. Because why? My mindset is Miami prices. I'm like, it's definitely going to go for $1 million. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to think about it. I'm going to let you know. 2 days before the auction came, he said, let's do it. I said, well, how much you looking to spend? He said, man, I'm not spending more than $750,000. I'm like, you know it's going to go for $1 million. He said, well, let's just try it. Bro, we went there, and we ended up winning that hotel for $550,000.
Instant equity.
170 units, $550,000. I needed some work, but I'm like, we looking at each other like, what? We didn't know what to do. So normally, I will get my little money that they throw me, right? And then they offer me the right to manage. Here we go. I'm working for them again. I'm working for them. I'm not owning, just working. And he offered it to me this time. He said, well, now that we won it, if you want to go to Jacksonville, I'll pay you a salary to run this hotel for me. And for once, it's like God just came to me and it clicked in my mind. I said, no. I said, you know what? I've been working for you guys, you know what I'm saying, doing things for y'all for the last 3 years or so. It's time for me to have ownership. If I got to get up and go to Jacksonville and move my family to Jacksonville, I need ownership. And he was like, yeah, I said, I gotta have ownership in it. So, you know, he was like, okay, let me think about it. So he tried to come with like 5%. I'm like, 5%? Yeah, I'm moving to Jacksonville. No, I ain't no 5%. Yeah. So, you know, long story short, we end up agreeing to 25%. But the second thing the reason I did it was I also had a salary. So it's a 25% ownership plus the salary, plus and the most important fee. Got it. Right, which is the management fee. Plus, this is the big thing. I had 100% operating control, meaning the business of the hotel itself would be under my company. So even though the building is his and I have 25% of equity and ownership in the building, I had 100% control over the business that the hotel that actually runs the hotel.